We're actually just doing some walleye fishing, as you can see. Andrew just slapped some dead fish right in front of me.
Nice eaters for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good fish fry. But before we get into that, we're gonna talk a little bit about these new Canadian custom rods. We posted them a few times on Instagram, had a ton of people ask about them. Are they worth the money? How do they feel? Are they light? All that stuff. We're gonna talk about our experiences with them so far. We do have 2 models each, but today, since we're walleye fishing, we both have medium light rods. Which model is that one?
So this one is the one piece. It's the 610 medium. It's actually a medium action. So this is a little bit heavier, but it still has a soft enough tip, I find, that it's working really well for exactly what I wanted to do. Especially if you're fishing slightly larger, jigs and whatnot. It has enough power to get that hook into those, toothy mouths of those things.
Nice. And this one here is the 7-1 medium light, extra fast, same thing, slightly faster tip. Nice for walleye fishing when you're fishing jigs on the bottom, Ned rigs, all that kind of stuff, fishing a little 1/8-ounce paddle tail, stuff like that. Nice little rod. So these are 2 rods that are very commonly used for walleye fishing and other types of fishing. So you have a medium and a medium light. That's bread and butter for Canada, for fishing for walleye and smallmouth and all that kinds of stuff. So we're gonna kind of go over just our basic thoughts. This isn't a review, this is just our observation so far. What's your first observations off the bat?
Real cork handles, love it.
Yeah,
I love the cork handle on it with the split grip. Very comfortable. It's well balanced actually with a nice 2500 reel. It's really nice for usability all day. It's not like tip heavy or anything like that.
Yeah, so like this here, this is actually the brand new Daiwa Exceller 2500, and like I know that the tipping point is different from where you hold it, but as you can see, it balances good.
Yeah, I have the Procyon on there, which a little bit higher end of the reel, but very nice. And again, even though it's often lighter than what perhaps the average person may be used to, just because it is made of slightly different materials, it still balances well with the rod. So a nice light reel is balancing with a rod, so it's not going to be a crazy heavy rod.
Yeah, so like you said, the cork, a lot of people like cork, and we're going to get a little bit into this. This is a similar price Daiwa Tatula XT rods. They have the high density black foam, which I think looks fantastic, but a lot of people like the cork. One thing I noticed about these rods is the styling of them is it's classic, but it also, there's a lot of like little cool fine details about these rods that make them look pretty cool. So there's actually a red metal, I don't even know what the heck that's called.
The collar, I guess?
Yeah, just like a metal collar on the top here where it connects to the blank and the cork. And there's also actually like a knurled black metal piece down here too with some red in there as well. So all the accents on the rod, not that that matters, the fish don't care, but it looks good. It looks good.
Absolutely.
The cork itself, like for a $120 rod, it is what it is. It's not the highest grade cork of all time. There's lots of filler and stuff, but you will find that in any rod under $200, so that's not a complaint.
Yeah.
So I have the 2-piece, you have the 1-piece.
Yeah, this is the 1-piece.
Yeah. So advantages of a 1-piece, it's going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more sensitive, but other than that, 2-piece rods have come a long way. This is a 2-piece, as you can see, and apparently Daiwa has this new connection here that apparently is a lot stronger and more, it keeps the action more in tune as opposed to feeling chunky.
Even on the rod, as Jesse's been fighting fish, we've noticed that the parabolic bend on this, not parabolic, just the bend on this rod is coming all the way down to the first guide. So that's past your joint. Yeah. That's where it's bending. So the action of it is not much, like again, this is a stiffer rod because this is the medium, but they both flex about the same, bend quality on it. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. I'd say, like, since we're backcountry-ish camping, like obviously there's some boats here, we're packing stuff in. A 2-piece rod is nice, and I don't honestly, when I'm fishing, I have a lot of high-end rods that are 1-piece. I have a lot of, I don't have a lot of 2-piece rods, so I got this one, and I didn't notice all day when I'm fishing. When you're fishing, you don't notice that kind of stuff, for me anyway. So, and again, I'm fishing 2 very similar rods. This is a 1-piece, this is a 2-piece. I don't notice throughout the day. So, one thing that I noticed, which is a bit of a, I don't know, could be good, could be bad. The guides going up are normal guides, but when you get up to the top, I'd say the first 4 guides are really, really small. The eyelets are very small.
They're almost micro guides. Yeah. Especially for a spinning rod, they're quite small. Yeah.
If you fish straight mono or straight braid, that's not going to be an issue, but we're fishing connection. Like this reel is loaded with 10-pound braid, and then I put a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader on, or an 8-pound. And I'm using an FG knot, which is a very thin knot, so it has no problem going through these guides. But if you use a chunkier connection knot, I feel like you may have an issue. So that's something to consider. But I feel like they could have put slightly larger guides on this.
Mine.
For
I
the
was
average
fishing a leader.
person.
Yeah, I was fishing a leader on this, but it was ticking a lot on the cast, so I didn't want to risk having it tangle on the guide coming up and then snap my bait off. So I did take off my leader just to fish straight braid. Which again, in this lake, I don't need a leader anyways because it's quite tannic water. But it's I haven't been hindered because of that. But I did take my leader off for that reason as well.
Yeah. And again, I have an FG knot on. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can hear going through, but that's on any rod.
I use the crazy Alberto knot, and you heard it a lot more.
It's a little chunkier. But my thing is these rods. This is the XT. We'll get into this a bit. The guides on this one are not. These ones are smaller. They're different, completely different guides. I feel like they should have put the XT guides, the ones they use on this, onto this rod as well, just for overall. Because like the average person buying a $120 rod, do they necessarily know the FG knot or want to tie it? Maybe not.
I've watched it, I've tied it a couple times, and I just choose not to anymore.
So anyway, overall, good quality rods. We've been really happy with the budget Daiwa stuff.
Yeah.
Anywhere from $100 to $200 for the rods and reels. They're fantastic. This reel, again, we're not going to get into this a lot, but this is the Acceler. It's 120 bucks. It looks like a $200 reel. It's smooth.
The Fuego spinning reel.
Yeah, I got that.
Like the black and red would pair perfectly with
it.
This rod.
It does.
It
Literally,
looks killer.
Yeah, it does. So that's the Daiwa Canadian Custom. These are just the spinning rods. We also have some heavier bait casting rods, which we'll get into. Overall, nice rods. Are they the lightest rods? I've had a lot of people be like, "Oh, the rods are tip heavy." They're not light. They're 120 bucks. All rods in that price point are not light.
Yeah.
These are sensitive enough to get the job done. They're balanced, as we said. They're not super light, but to be fair, they're $120, so we're not going to compare them to rods that cost 3 times as much.
And also, you know, I'm not chucking musky baits with this when it's not a huge rod. So if it is a few grams heavier, or you know, portions of an ounce, not like an ounce heavier, I think you measure the difference between the XT and this one here, and it was, I think, 0.4 ounces heavier or something like that, right?
Yeah, so let's get into comparing these two rods, because the Daiwa XT is a very popular model. It's been out for a few years. Right off the bat, I bought one. Fantastic rods. They're more like bass rods, the XT series. They're more like, they have more classic actions towards bass fishing. The Canadian custom rods, I feel like they were designed for like multi-species, but you're looking at like smallmouth and walleye, like a lot of the series. They also have like some salmon rods in there too. We're not going to get into that, but these two models, I got this one because this is the exact same rod as this. This is a 7.1 medium light extra fast. This is a 7.1 medium light extra fast. Same rod, okay? I weighed them on my scale. The XT is actually a 1/4 ounce lighter. This one has one extra guide. Do guides weigh a 1/4 ounce? No. So there is a difference in the blank. We talked to the Daiwa rep. These are not the same rod. Everyone's like, they're the same price. They're both 120. So they're the same blank. They're literally not the same blank. You can even see this one has like the X wrapping on it. This one does not.
Yep.
They're different blanks completely. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just they're different. That's just the fact of it. So the XTs may be a little bit lighter depending on your model, but they also have a different action. So just as a comparison, one thing I noticed is this XT medium light is a little more stiffer than a medium light that I'm used to. So I was wondering how this one would do, and I kind of held them. There's like this sketchy fishing rod test you can do to kind of tell the action of the rod. As you hold it and you see the reels, you can see how the reels go down different amounts when you're up at the tip. I don't really want to do this with the reels on it, but anyway, my experiment showed that the XT was more stiff than the Canadian Custom was a little softer. So I kind of like the action more of the Canadian Custom myself. But comparisons goes, I'd say if you're looking for a bass rod, if you like the looks of these, get these for sure. But these ones are more bass oriented, but great rods, 120 bucks. So highly recommend them. If you have any questions, let us know.